It was a crisp autumn evening when Sarah, a nature enthusiast, decided to take a solo camping trip deep into the Whispering Woods. The forest was named for the peculiar way the wind rustled through the trees, creating an eerie whispering sound. Local legends warned of spirits and otherworldly beings that roamed the woods, but Sarah, ever the skeptic, dismissed these tales as mere superstition. Setting up her tent as the sun dipped below the horizon, Sarah felt a shiver run down her spine. She shrugged it off as the chill of the evening air. As darkness enveloped the forest, she lit a small campfire and settled in for the night. The whispering of the trees seemed to grow louder, almost as if the forest was alive and speaking to her. Just as she began to relax, Sarah heard a faint, melodic humming. It was so soft at first that she thought it was her imagination. But the sound grew louder, more insistent. Intrigued, she followed the sound, leaving the safety of her campfire. The humming led her deeper into the forest, where the trees grew denser and the whispering intensified. Suddenly, Sarah stumbled upon a small clearing. In the center stood a figure cloaked in shadows, its back turned to her. The humming was now a haunting melody, emanating from the figure. Sarah's curiosity turned to terror as the figure slowly turned around, revealing hollow, glowing eyes and a mouth that seemed to stretch impossibly wide. Paralyzed with fear, Sarah couldn't move as the figure glided towards her, its humming now a deafening wail. The last thing she remembered before blacking out was the cold, bony fingers wrapping around her throat. She was found the next morning, unconscious and covered in strange, ancient symbols. She never spoke of what happened that night, but her hair turned white from the fright. After her ordeal, Sarah sought the counsel of a local historian, hoping to uncover the truth behind her terrifying encounter. The historian, an elderly man with deep knowledge of the area's folklore, listened intently as Sarah recounted her experience. He then revealed the chilling legend of the Whispering Woods. According to the legend, centuries ago, a coven of witches had been hunted down and executed in the heart of the forest. Their spirits, unable to find peace, roamed the woods, seeking revenge on anyone who dared to disturb their resting place. The humming Sarah heard was the witches' attempt to lure her deeper into the forest, where they could exact their vengeance. Determined to put the spirits to rest, Sarah and the historian devised a plan. They gathered the necessary materials for a ritual to appease the witches' spirits and ventured back into the Whispering Woods. As they performed the ritual in the same clearing where Sarah had her encounter, the whispering grew louder, almost deafening. But as they completed the final steps, a sense of calm washed over the forest. The whispering ceased, and the eerie presence dissipated. Sarah left the forest, hoping that the spirits had finally found peace. However, she couldn't shake the feeling that something still lingered in the depths of the Whispering Woods. To this day, she avoids the forest, unwilling to risk another encounter with the malevolent forces that dwell within. Tom and Jake, lifelong friends and thrill-seekers, had heard stories of Pine Hollow's haunted past. The forest was said to be home to the restless spirit of a man who had disappeared years ago under mysterious circumstances. Determined to prove the tales wrong, they set out on a night hike, armed with nothing but flashlights and bravado. As they ventured deeper into Pine Hollow, the atmosphere grew heavy, and an unnatural silence blanketed the woods. Their flashlights flickered, casting long, eerie shadows that danced around them. Despite their growing unease, they pressed on, laughing off their fear. Suddenly, a cold breeze swept through the forest, extinguishing their flashlights. In the pitch-black darkness, they heard a soft, mournful whisper. "Help me!" The voice was faint, almost desperate. Tom and Jake froze, their bravado vanishing in an instant. They followed the voice, hoping to find someone in need of assistance. Instead, they stumbled upon an old, decrepit cabin. The door creaked open, revealing a dimly lit interior. Inside, the temperature dropped sharply, and the whispering grew louder. "Help me!" As they stepped inside, the door slammed shut behind them. The cabin was empty except for a single, dusty mirror hanging on the wall. In the reflection, they saw the figure of a man with hollow eyes and a gaunt face. His mouth moved, but the voice they heard was in their heads. "Help me, find my way home." Terrified, Tom and Jake turned to leave, but the cabin seemed to stretch, the door now impossibly far away. The figure stepped out of the mirror, reaching for them with skeletal hands. They screamed, their voices merging with the man's mournful wail. The next morning, the cabin stood empty, and Tom and Jake were never seen again.
Locals say if you listen closely, you can still hear their screams echoing through Pine Hollow.
After Tom and Jake's disappearance, the local authorities conducted a thorough investigation of Pine Hollow. Despite extensive searches, no trace of the two men was ever found. The only clue was the old cabin, which seemed to vanish and reappear at different locations within the forest, as if playing a sinister game with anyone who dared to enter.
Over the years, other hikers and adventurers reported similar experiences in Pine Hollow.
They spoke of the mournful whispering, the sudden drops in temperature, and the eerie feeling of being watched. Some even claimed to have seen the ghostly figure of the man in the mirror, his hollow eyes pleading for release. Determined to uncover the truth, a paranormal investigation team decided to document their findings in Pine Hollow. Equipped with state-of-the-art equipment, they ventured into the forest, hoping to capture evidence of the supernatural. As they approached the cabin, their cameras picked up strange anomalies, and their audio recordings captured the faint whispers of, "Help me." During their investigation, the team discovered old, weathered documents hidden beneath the cabin's floorboards. The documents revealed the tragic story of the man who had disappeared years ago. He was a local farmer who had lost his family in a devastating fire. Overwhelmed with grief, he sought solace in the forest, where he eventually succumbed to his despair. His spirit, unable to find peace, became trapped in the cabin, endlessly seeking help to reunite with his lost loved ones. The paranormal team performed a ritual to help guide the spirit to the afterlife. As they completed the ritual, the temperature in the cabin returned to normal, and the mournful whispering ceased. The ghostly figure appeared one last time, his hollow eyes now filled with gratitude before fading away. Although the spirit of Pine Hollow was finally at rest, the forest retained its eerie atmosphere. The cabin, no longer haunted, still stood as a reminder of the tragic events that had transpired. To this day, visitors to Pine Hollow tread carefully, mindful of the forest's haunted past. Emma, a seasoned hiker, had heard rumors of a cursed clearing deep within Blackwood Forest. It was said that those who entered the clearing at night would never return. Intrigued by the challenge, she set out to find the clearing, dismissing the warnings as mere folklore. She navigated the dense forest with ease, following the path described by those who claimed to have seen the clearing. As night fell, she finally reached her destination. The clearing was bathed in an unnatural, pale light, and an eerie silence hung in the air. As she stepped into the clearing, Emma felt a sudden chill, as if she had walked into another realm. The trees surrounding the clearing seemed to close in, their branches twisting into grotesque shapes. She heard a faint rustling and turned to see shadows moving just beyond the tree line. Ignoring her growing unease, Emma set up her camera to document her findings. As she adjusted the lens, she noticed a figure standing at the edge of the clearing. It was a woman, her face hidden beneath a tangle of dark hair. The woman raised a skeletal hand, pointing directly at Emma. Emma's heart pounded as the woman began to chant in a language she didn't understand. The shadows around the clearing grew darker, and the air became thick with a malevolent presence. Desperate to escape, Emma turned to run, but her legs felt like lead. The woman advanced, her chant growing louder and more insistent. Emma felt an overwhelming sense of dread as the shadows closed in around her. She tried to scream, but no sound came out. The last thing she saw was the woman's hollow eyes, filled with an ancient, malevolent power. Emma's camera was found the next day, abandoned in the clearing. The footage revealed nothing but darkness and the faint sound of chanting. Emma was never found, and the cursed clearing claimed another victim. Those who venture near Blackwood Forest at night swear they can hear her desperate cries, echoing through the trees. After Emma's disappearance, her friends and family organized a search party to scour Blackwood Forest. Despite their best efforts, they found no trace of Emma except for her abandoned camera. The clearing, now known as the Cursed Clearing, became a place of dread and fascination for locals and paranormal enthusiasts alike. Intrigued by the legends, a group of paranormal investigators decided to explore the Cursed Clearing. Armed with advanced equipment and a sense of determination, they ventured into Blackwood Forest. As they approached the clearing, their equipment began to malfunction, and an eerie silence fell over the group. The investigators set up their cameras and began their exploration. Almost immediately, they felt a chill in the air, and the shadows around the clearing seemed to move with a life of their own. As they conducted their investigation, they heard faint whispers and saw fleeting glimpses of the shadowy figure of the woman. One of the investigators, a medium, attempted to communicate with the spirit. Through the medium, the spirit revealed her tragic story. She had been a healer in a nearby village centuries ago, accused of witchcraft and cast out into the forest. In her desperation and anger, she had cursed the clearing, vowing to trap anyone who entered it. The medium, with the help of the other investigators, performed a ritual to release the spirit from her curse. As the ritual progressed, the shadows receded, and the temperature returned to normal. The woman's spirit appeared one last time. Her expression softened with relief before she disappeared into the night. The investigators left the clearing, believing they had lifted the curse. However, the experience left them deeply unsettled. They released their findings to the public, warning others of the dangers that still lurked in Blackwood Forest. Despite the ritual, the cursed clearing retained its eerie atmosphere. Some who ventured into the forest reported seeing shadowy figures and hearing faint whispers. The legend of the cursed clearing continued to grow, a chilling reminder of the malevolent forces that once resided there. If you enjoyed these stories, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more horror stories. Share your thoughts and any spine-tingling experiences you've had in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and until next time, stay safe and stay curious. Check out these other videos for more scary stories and paranormal investigations. Subscribe for more content, and we'll see you in the next video. Take care.